Welcome to another edition of UFO Love, aka Hari Ram Singh, coming to you coast to coast around this beautiful flat earth. Welcome. Woo! I'm really happy to be back on the air, live, to bring you some more magical words from Sri Yukteswar. Words that were transmitted to and through Paramahansa Yogananda. Give it up. Back in 1936. It happened to be the year of my mother's birth. Give it up for beautiful Barbara. Yes. Thank you. Who carried me in her womb for 9 months, and from which I did not want to leave. I was difficult to go. These last 54 years I've been trying to get back into it. So far, no luck. Anyhow, if anyone is listening, is the ultimate question in radio. Anybody out there, please send me a chat here, a chat message. I'm going to initiate that right now so you can see it in the chat section of the Spreaker app. Can you see that? Can you read it? Susie says, I'm a technology disaster. Join the club. Okay, let me just respond to her, because I can still get your Facebook messages. If you can't use Spreaker, I'll try to check in with the Facebook Messenger messages. It's another way, because I get those banners that come down into my virtual studio here. So you can communicate this way as well, if you can't do it through Spreaker. All right. So, as per tradition, we're going to start with the Adi Mantra. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Put your hands together. Breathing deeply. Bring your hands into prayer position, the heart. This reminds me of this beautiful video I saw a while ago from Muji. Any fans of Muji out there? Muji! Woo! Muji, for me, is about the closest living master that I have found. Comes close to the one we know as Osho, Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh. Give it up. Osho! Muji, such a beautiful soul. I really hope I get to meet him in this life. He's got the beautiful face, mixed blood, Jamaican, Japanese. Wow. In this particular video that just came to my mind, he recommended this, to do this every morning. Place your hands together in prayer position at the heart. And simply sit, walk around your home with your hands pressed together gently at the heart for 5, 10, 15 minutes. Simply that, just breathing, holding your hands in prayer position at the heart chakra. Relaxing your gaze, of course, helps. And simply breathing, no need to say any mantra, do anything else but this. Of course, if we add the mantra, the Adi Mantra, Om Namo Gurudev Namo, you can do that for 15 minutes. You think, hey, Susie did connect through the Spreaker app. Welcome, Susie. Let's give her a big hand for figuring out the technology. So, you know what? I'm going to sing it with the guitar. I like to do sometimes. Please join me. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. So let me check the tuning. It's a good thing I checked since I've deeply. Suspend the breath. Root lock, mul band. Slowly release mul band with the exhale. Ad Gure Name, Jugad, if anyone wants to print it on the chat for me, feel free. Mangala Charan Mantra, Ad Gure Name, Jugad Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siddhi Gurudev Name. This one's from my first CD, A Call. Some of these tracks on MySpace site, still online, MySpace, Kapari Ram. It's been a while since I did this. Siddhi Gurudev Name, Ad Gure Name, Jugad Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siddhi Gurudev Name, Ad Gure Name, Jugad Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siddhi Gurudev Name, Ad Gure Name. Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siddhi Gurudev Name, Ad Gure Name, Jugad Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siddhi Sri Gurudeve Namah. I'm going to take a break for a moment. I'm going to continue with this. I'm going to move my kara. This can really bang. If anyone wears heavy kara when they're playing guitar, bangs on the guitar, sometimes it adds to the rhythm. But remove that. Also, I want to invite you, if you're not still with your hands in prayer position, as Muji suggests doing every morning, or any time of day, bring your hands back to the heart in prayer position. And if you wish, you can add something to this. I'll demonstrate this on my next video podcast, so stay tuned for that too. We'll have some space for beautiful meditation. Muji is speaking about. He says, if you do this every day, a lot of your worries, troubles, all this nonsense, anxiety will just vanish like magic. It's like magic. Conspiracy 101. Positive conspiracy. So you start from, again, prayer position. So elbows, lift your elbows a little bit slightly to open the chest. You'll find the right position, right? You don't lift the elbows too high. Shoulders are still relaxed. Hands pressed together. Fingers are on a 45-degree angle away from the chest. So, which means that your thumbs are outstretched away from the rest of the hand, pressed against the sternum. So on the Ad Gure Name, you just extend your arms 45 degrees straight up, 45-degree angle, fully extended. And Jugad Gure Name, you bring the hands back to the heart. Your position. Sat Gure Name, again, extend your arms straight, 45 degrees. And then Sri Gurudeve Name, you bring the hands back to the heart. Okay. So try that. Susie says, great. Let's try it. Inhale deeply. Hold the breath. Bring the breath really down. Exhale. Bring your hands down. Relax. Your hands in your lap. Gyan Mudra if you like. Thumb and forefinger together. The other three fingers outstretched. These mudras are powerful, hand mudras. The meridians, of course, end at the extremities, the fingers and the toes. So it's a good way to check the strength of your nervous system to see how well you can hold these mudras. When the nervous system is weak, the fingers will curl back towards the palm. Kundalini Yoga it's a science. I call it the science of illumination, or the science of enlightenment. Through rejuvenating the nervous system, rebalancing the endocrine system, the glandular system, one can attain enlightenment. Give it up. There's no hocus pocus here. It's simple science. Without a strong nervous system, which we can interpret as the chakra system, the meridians, they do, of course, translate both ways, east-west. One can experience God presence. Siddhi Gurudeva is that, the God presence within, the Guru within, the higher self. It's not hocus pocus, right? It's science. And this is what inspired me to share today more from this incredible chapter in Yogananda's autobiography. If you haven't read it, again, or even if you have, read it again. Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. Give it up for Yogananda! Woo! This chapter 43 is titled The Resurrection of Sri Yukteswar. Yogananda's master coming back to describe from the other side, to describe to his beautiful sannyasin Yogananda what awaits him on the other side after he leaves his body. And of course we can get glimpses through meditation, trance state. So I'll try to start where I finished the page. So we were speaking about the soul family and blood family, and how these don't always match. Yeah. So another message. Ione, welcome, Ione. Give it up, Ione love. Woo! Hello from Good Mood, USA. That's debatable. Speaking of soul family, my soul sisters, sisters and brothers from different mothers, all the same family. Okay, so I start here, page 359. Where we left off the other day. The Yukteswar is describing the astral plane. He says, the span of life in the astral world is much longer than on Earth. A normal advanced astral being's average life period is from 500 to 1,000 years, measured in accordance with earthly standards of time. As certain redwood trees outlive most trees by a millennium, or as some yogis live several hundred years, though most men die before the age of 60. So some astral beings live much longer than the usual span of astral existence. Visitors to the astral world dwell there for a longer or shorter period in accordance with the weight of their physical karma, which draws them back to earth within a specified time. The astral being does not have to contend painfully with death at the time of shedding his luminous body. Many of these beings nevertheless feel slightly nervous at the thought of dropping their astral form for the subtler causal one. It's interesting. The same way one can feel nervous about dying in his physical incarnation, same nervousness can happen at the astral level. The astral world is free from unwilling death, disease, and old age, Sri Yukteswar says. These three dreads are the curse of earth, where man has allowed his consciousness to identify itself almost wholly with a frail physical body requiring constant aid from air, food, and sleep in order to exist at all. Physical death is attended by the disappearance of breath and the disintegration of fleshy cells. Astral death consists of the disbursement of lifetrons. I love that word, lifetron. Those manifest units of energy which constitute the life of astral beings. At physical death, a being loses his consciousness of flesh and becomes aware of his subtle body in the astral world. Experiencing astral death in due time, a being thus passes from the consciousness of astral birth and death to that of physical birth and death. These recurrent cycles of astral and physical encasement are the ineluctable, now that's a word, are the ineluctable destiny of all unenlightened beings. The Sanskrit word is samsara. Samskara. I like that. Samskara sounds scary. Back and forth. Hindus believe that we've lived millions of lifetimes for this reason. Scriptural definitions of heaven and hell sometimes stir man's deeper than subconscious memories of his long series of experiences in the blithesome astral and disappointing terrestrial worlds. Yogananda asks, Beloved Master, will you please describe more in detail the difference between rebirth on the earth and in the astral and causal spheres? Good question. Man, as an individualized soul, is essentially causal-bodied, my Guru explained. That body is a matrix of the 35 ideas required by God as the basic or causal thought forces, from which he later formed the subtle astral body of 19 elements and the gross physical body of 16 elements. These are key numbers according to Sri Yukteswar. 35 ideas from the causal body, 19 elements form the astral body, and 16 elements which form the physical body. The 19 elements of the astral body are mental, emotional, and lifetronic. The 19 components are intelligence, ego, feeling, mind, aka sense consciousness, the 5 instruments of knowledge, the subtle counterparts of the senses of sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch, 5 instruments of action, the mental correspondence for the executive abilities to procreate, excrete, talk, walk, and exercise manual skill, and 5 instruments of life force, those empowered to perform the crystallizing, assimilating, eliminating, metabolizing and circulating functions of the body. This subtle astral encasement of 19 elements survives the death of the physical body, which is made of 16 gross chemical elements. God thought out different ideas within himself and projected them into dreams. Lady Cosmic Dream. Let's give it up for Lady Cosmic Dream. Of course she has to be a she. Lady Cosmic Dream. Beautiful phrase. She thus sprang out, decorated in all her colossal, endless ornaments of relativity. In 35 thought categories of the causal body, God elaborated all the complexities of man's 19 astral and 16 physical counterparts. By condensation of vibratory forces, first subtle, then gross, he produced man's astral body and finally his physical form. According to the law of relativity, I have to comment on this too, because my training in shiatsu theory and traditional Chinese medicine perfectly correlates. And this is the perspective that Sri Yukteswar is speaking about here in ancient Chinese medicine, shiatsu theory. We start from the subtle, which is defined as Shen from Chinese medicine, the Shen, spirit, causal body. And then move to the astral, as described here through Yukteswar, which could be defined as the Jing, constitution, Chinese medicine. And finally, Qi, physical, the grossest part from the Chinese perspective. Qi, prana, and how it manifests in the physical form. So Sri Yukteswar goes on to say, according to the law of relativity, by which the prime simplicity has become the bewildering manifold, the causal cosmos and causal body are different from the astral cosmos and astral body. The physical cosmos and physical body are likewise characteristically at variance with the other forms of creation. The fleshy body is made of the fixed, objectified dreams of the Creator. The dualities are ever present on earth. Disease and health, pain and pleasure, loss and gain. Human beings find limitation and resistance in three-dimensional matter. When man's desire to live is severely shaken by disease or other causes, death arrives. The heavy overcoat of the flesh is temporarily shed. The soul, however, remains encased in the astral and causal bodies. The cohesive force by which all three bodies are held together is desire. The power of unfulfilled desires is the root of all man's slavery. I have to repeat that. Okay, that's enough. This is worth repeating. The power of unfulfilled desires is the root of all of man's slavery. The Zen koan. Physical desires are rooted in egotism and sense pleasures. The compulsion or temptation of sensory experience is more powerful than the desire force connected with astral attachments or causal perceptions. Astral desires center around enjoyment in terms of vibration. Astral beings enjoy the ethereal music of the spheres and are entranced by the sight of all creation as exhaustless expressions of changing light. The astral beings also smell, taste, and touch light. Astral desires are thus connected with an astral being's power to precipitate all objects and experiences as forms of light or as condensed thoughts or dreams. Now the causal perspective goes on. Causal desires are fulfilled by perception only. The nearly free beings who are encased only in the causal body see the whole universe as realizations of the dream ideas of God. They can materialize anything and everything in sheer thought. Causal beings therefore consider the enjoyment of physical sensations or astral delights as gross and suffocating to the soul's fine sensibilities. Causal beings work out their desires by materializing them instantly. Those who find themselves covered only by the delicate veil of the causal body can bring universes into manifestation, even as the Creator. Because all creation is made of the cosmic dream texture, the soul thinly clothed in the causal has vast realizations of power. the break there. We're gonna. Oh, Robert says, "Wow, what a quote!" Yeah, I agree, Robert. This passage, along with the whole chapter, at various points, brings me back to some of my experiences with theogenic plants, and specifically ayahuasca. Anyone out there's an ayahuasca journey? Okay, enough of you guys. Well, any of these plant medicines, psilocybin, peyote, ayahuasca, San Pedro, can give us a glimpse, and what can seem like an extended, endless glimpse, sometimes timeless glimpse, into the astral and perhaps even causal realms. And thus, it can be the most blissful dream experience imaginable, and potentially the most horrific nightmare. This is what Sri Yukteswar is describing here. Instant, especially at the causal level, instant materialization of our thoughts. So this is the attraction of these plant medicines for eons, right? The people, traditions around the planet have been journeying with these sacred plants for millennia. That's why I highly recommend you be careful if you do choose to sample any of these theogenic plant medicines, to do it in the right context, that is, with a shaman, someone who knows this plant medicine inside out. And this can be a real journey in itself, just finding that shaman. So there are a lot of frauds out there, more and more, right? Because we know, like, ayahuasca alone now has become so prevalent all over the globe. It used to be the only way to have an ayahuasca journey was to go to the Amazon, because that's where it comes from. Today, ayahuasca is being administered all over the planet for good and not so good reasons. The not so good reasons are people are making a ton of money from it. Okay. Yes, commercialization of shamanism is a very scary and inevitable thing, right? Just like yoga. So, buyer beware. Let's go to Peru, Robert says, and I say yes. And then, but, we even have to be careful now when we go to the Amazon for the same reasons. A lot of Peruvians, Bolivians, Brazil. There are people who have, seen the opportunity to make a good living, administering this medicine and guiding people. So even there, one has to be aware. Enough said. Let's get back to Sri Yukteswar. First, I have to find where I live. I think let's before I do that, let's take a little musical break, huh? What do you think? Yeah? Oh, you guys are too quiet. Music is from my embellishment of a traditional song. Any fans of the Coen Brothers out there? Yeah, let's get up to the Coen Brothers. Oh brother, Lord, we're out now. Great film. The soundtrack for this film, "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" is brilliant. It was so successful. The musicians that participated in the making of that soundtrack went on tour and had a fabulous time, I'm sure. This is one of the songs that I embellished like this. You've got to go to the lonesome valley. You've got to go to the lonesome valley. No one can go for you. No one can go there for you. You've got to go. You've got to go alone. You've got to go. You've got to go alone. You've got to go hear myself because I am good. I can 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 hear myself because I have pure life. Sri Yukteswar told me so. You can heal yourself because you are pure light. You can heal yourself because you are pure light. We can heal ourselves because we are pure light. We can heal ourselves because we are pure light. We can heal ourselves because we are pure light. Waiguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waiguru Ji Ki Fateh. This is the power of the group experience, of course. The ayahuasca ceremony, traditional ayahuasca ceremony, like many shamanic ceremonies around the globe, involves chanting and music in a group. Everyone is in their own experience, usually at nighttime, in the dark, eyes closed. So we are alone, exploring the lonesome valley, as it were, and yet we are all together in the group. It's a dichotomy again, aloneness. Reminds me of the Master Osho. My first introduction to Osho was through his voice. It was in the year 2001. 16 glorious years. There was a tape in which he was speaking about aloneness versus loneliness. Wow. This guy is cool. He's got something to say. Loneliness is ego. It is a sense of abandonment, which is ultimately self-abandonment. Yes, we have to come to this awareness at some point. The lonesome valley. It is self-perpetuated. Abandonment is not something that happens from outside. It's an inner experience, like everything else in this life. And thus, that realization gives us the potential, the possibility to attain to aloneness, which is all oneness. Yes, we're all one. I love the English language. There's so many hidden meanings. Aloneness is actually 3 words. All, one, and the word ness. I love that word ness. We're all one. Ekonkar, Sat Nam, Waheguru. So this is one way to describe the transformation, misery to bliss. Siddhi Gurudev, realizing our divine presence within. Gu meaning dark, Gu light, dark to light, loneliness to aloneness, Waheguru. So let's read a little bit more, shall we? I haven't had many responses for a while. Are you guys still out there? Okay, we're on page 361 now. Let's start here again. Causal desires, through Yukteswar, says, are fulfilled by perception only. The nearly free beings who are encased only in the causal body see the whole universe as realizations of the dream ideas of God. Materialize anything and everything in sheer thought. Causal beings therefore consider the enjoyment of physical sensations or astral delights as gross and suffocating to the soul's fine sensibilities. Causal beings work out their desires by materializing them instantly. Those who find themselves covered only by the delicate veil of the causal body can bring universes into manifestation, even as the Creator. Because all creation is made of the cosmic dream texture, the soul thinly clothed in the causal has vast realizations of power. A soul, being invisible by nature, can be distinguished only by the presence of its body or bodies. The mere presence of a body signifies that its existence is made possible by unfulfilled desires. That's fascinating. Interesting way to look at it. The mere presence of a body, that means all of you are listening right now, if you still have a body, signifies that its existence is made possible by unfulfilled desires. One love, Robert. Thank you. So long as the soul of a man is encased in 1, 2, or 3 body containers, sealed tightly with the corks of ignorance and desires, he cannot merge with the sea of spirit. When the gross physical receptacle is destroyed by the hammer of death, The other two coverings, astral and causal, still remain to prevent the soul from consciously joining the omnipresent life. I'm just going to say omnipotent. I love that word. Omnipresent and omnipotent. Beautiful words. When desirelessness is attained through wisdom, its power disintegrates the two remaining vessels. The tiny human soul emerges, free at last. It is one with the measureless amplitude. Those two words are capitalized, beautiful. The measureless amplitude. The drop in the ocean. It's interesting, huh? Many of us have heard this analogy from the great scriptures, teachings. We're like a drop turning to the ocean. And for me, it's always conjured great joy and wonder and horror too. You know, what happens? This is a total disintegration of everything. Yeah, to return as a drop to the ocean. So I love that Osho was given the name Osho, Oceanic. His teachings for me. So Yogananda says, I asked my divine guru to shed further light on the high and mysterious causal world. So let's talk a little bit more about that. I think we might have to do another installment. There's still quite a bit left in this chapter. Yay. We have to do another installment. Yay! Why Guru? Sri Yukteswar says, the causal world is indescribably subtle. In order to understand it, one would have to possess such tremendous powers of concentration that he could close his eyes and visualize the astral cosmos and the physical cosmos in all their vastness, the luminous balloon with the solid basket, as existing in ideas only. If by this superhuman concentration one succeeded in converting or resolving the two cosmoses with all their complexities into sheer ideas, he would then reach the causal world and stand on the borderline of fusion between mind and matter. There one perceives all created things, solids, liquids, gases, electricity, energy, all beings, gods, men, animals, plants, bacteria, as forms of consciousness, just as a man can close his eyes and realize that he exists, even though his body is invisible to his physical eyes and is present only as an idea. Whatever a human being can do in fancy, a causal being can do in reality. The most colossal imaginative human intelligence is able, in mind only, to range from one extreme of thought to another, to skip mentally from planet to planet, or tumble endlessly down a pit of eternity, or soar rocket-like into the galaxied canopy, or scintillate like a searchlight over Milky Ways and the starry spaces. But beings in the causal world, have a much greater freedom and can effortlessly manifest their thoughts into instant objectivity. I think I need a drink of water here. I'm going to repeat that. This is super important. Beings in the causal world have a much greater freedom than us and can effortlessly manifest their thoughts into instant objectivity without any material or astral obstruction or karmic limitation. Causal beings realize that the physical cosmos is not primarily constructed of electrons, nor is the astral cosmos basically composed of lightrons. Both, in reality, are created from the minutest particles of God thought, chopped and divided by Maya, the law of relativity. That's interesting. He's describing Maya, which also means illusion, as the law of relativity. that apparently intervenes to separate creation from its creator. Ione Love says, fascinating. Thank you for that elucidation. Interesting. That's a good definition of Maya. The law of relativity, which intervenes to separate creation from its creator. We could say the law of relativity is the law of separation, consciousness, and Maya. Sri Yukteswar says, souls in the causal world recognize one another as individualized points of joyous spirit. Waheguru. Waheguru. Souls in the causal world recognize one another as individualized points of joyous spirit. Their thought things are only objects that surround them. Causal beings see the difference between their bodies and thoughts to be merely ideas. As a man, closing his eyes, can visualize a dazzling white light or a faint blue haze, so causal beings, by thought alone, are able to see, hear, smell, taste, touch. They create anything or dissolve it by the power of cosmic mind. Both death and rebirth in the causal world are in thought. Causal-bodied beings feast only on the ambrosia of eternally new knowledge. They drink from the spring of peace, roam on the trackless soil of perceptions, swim in the ocean endlessness of bliss. I want to go right now, don't you? Lo, see their bright thought bodies zoom past trillions of spirit-created planets, fresh bubbles of universes, wisdom stars, spectral dreams of golden nebulae on the skyway bosom of infinity. Wow. You can't make up this stuff, you know what I mean? Maybe from my tantric poetry. I want to repeat that last line. It's so beautiful. Sri Yukteswar. Lo, see their bright thought bodies zoom past trillions of spirit-created planets, fresh bubbles of universes, wisdom stars, spectral dreams of golden nebulae on the skyway bosom of infinity. Woo! Many beings remain for thousands of years in the causal cosmos. By deeper ecstasies, the freed soul then withdraws itself from the little causal body and puts on the vastness of the causal cosmos. All the separate eddies of ideas, particularized waves of power, love, will, joy, peace, intuition, calmness, self-control, and concentration melt into the ever-joyous sea of bliss. No longer does the soul have to experience its joy as an individualized wave of consciousness, but is merged in the one cosmic ocean with all its waves, eternal laughter, thrills, throbs. When a soul is out of the cocoon of the three bodies, it escapes forever from the law of relativity and becomes the ineffable, ever-existent. Behold the butterfly of omnipotence. I was going to say omnipotence. Behold the butterfly of omnipresence. Its wings etched with stars and moons and suns. The soul expanded into spirit remains alone in the region of lightless light, darkless dark, thoughtless thought, intoxicated with its ecstasy of joy in God's dream of cosmic creation. Yogananda's response here is, a free soul! I ejaculated in awe. I think we're going to pause here again for 363. And hopefully you like what you hear enough that you want to tune in tomorrow for the next installment of this beautiful prose from the other side. It's for Yukteswar. Before we tune out with Long-Time Sun song, I invite you to chant with me a simple mantra. You're very welcome, Robert. Chant along with me. This mantra is so simple and potent. The mantra is Sat Nam. Give it up for Sat Nam. The seed mantra. The Bij mantra. Bij means seed. You take every opportunity to say it and to think it. Kundalini Yoga community. We're planting a seed of truth, love. Truth is love, is truth. Sat is truth, Nam, name, identity. My name is love, my name is truth. Sat Nam. So please chant along with me. So if you're still in tune. Yes. Good night, dear brother. Thank you for tuning in. chanting these beautiful, gentle pieces last night. I got so blissed out. So I think I'm going to make an entire album of mantra lullabies. What do you guys think? See the audience. I have many pieces like this one, which are ideal for bedtime. Anytime you need to be called to a deep, blissful sleepness state. If you want to contribute to the cause too, there are options for that as well. Unfortunately, in this world, to make good recording, it requires a certain amount of cashola. I've got some technology now. So prayers are also always accepted. So, hands back together. A long time to sing. Long Satnam. Yeah, MP3. Yeah, if you can do the technology, Robert, I can use all the technical support I can get. All right. So again, with the hands at the heart, long Satnam. Inhale deeply. Sa. Inhale deeply, suspend the breath, move on. Feel the bliss, the astral, the causal, and beyond, the oceanic bliss, oneness, aloneness, all oneness, Ekankar, Satnam, Waheguru, blessed be. Thank you all so much. Sing so long, adios, arrivederci. Till we meet again.